Okay, number 3 is a little bit, what's different about problem 3 than the other one? The other one had a 0, this one's got a what? 3. And what was the first thing we said? You have to have what? One side what? 0. Because that's called, we're going to write it, I think, in general form. And general form means you have 0 on one side. Okay? So what would I have to do to get the 0 on one side is just what? Minus 3 to what?
The other side.
Each side, right? So here's what it would look like. It would look like x plus 32 over x plus 6 minus 3 less than or equal to what? 0, right? Okay. Now, here's what I would do. I'm doing this part right here. You have to have a common denominator to put them together. So that's what I talked about here. After it is a fraction with a common denominator. And what I probably should have done, y'all, and I did this in the other class too, is I probably, when I wrote it, I probably should have done this here. Probably should have just kept a what? A nice space there. Guess why? Because that way I don't have to what? Write the problem what? Again in the next part, right? Save a little space. Because guess what I need for a common denominator? What is the denominator down here?
6.
So I need to multiply this by guess what? X plus 6 in the numerator, and guess what? X plus 6 where? On the denominator. Okay? I got to multiply that one by x plus 6. So what I'm going to do now is this. I'm going to rewrite this problem. I'm going to leave this x plus 32 alone, x plus 6. But what is negative 3 times x? That's a negative 3x. And negative 3 times 6 makes it what? Minus what? 18. All over, guess what? X plus what? 6. Now I want to be real careful here. That's a negative 3x. I want to kind of really write it like that. I took into account the negative what? When I multiplied. Everybody got that? I took the negative into account when I multiplied it. So I should write it like that. So here's what I need to do now. And I'm going to write it. I'm just going to write it up here above this problem so we have this nice, easy thing to look at. Everybody got it? So I kind of can erase this here and have some space here to do some more work, all right? So here's what I'm going to do. I can combine these here. What's an x and negative 3x make? Negative what? No, it's negative 2x, not squared.
Where do you see 2?
There's 1x minus 3x makes what?
Oh, minus. Okay.
Makes negative 2x. And now then this is 32 minus 18 makes what? Is that right? See, just negative 3. Yeah, that'd be negative 3. So it's a minus 18. So positive 32 minus 18 makes what?
18. Oh, no, no.
No, I think it makes what? 14? Makes it 14, right?
Yeah.
Correct? Makes it 14. And this is all over what? X plus 6, and it has to be what? Less than or equal to what? 0, right? Okay. Now, here's what I'm going to do now. Does everybody kind of have this down? I kind of want to erase this just to make some room down here. Everybody got that? So I have this written down here where I get these numbers from right here. Okay? So, now, I am going to do this next. I am going to factor each of these. I'm going to factor the top. If I have negative 2x minus 14, I'm just going to set it equal to 0. I would add 14 to each side, correct? So I have negative 2x equals 14. So now divide by what? Negative 2, right? Correct? When I divide by negative 2, I get x equals what? Negative what? 7. Right? X equals negative 7. And when I do the bottom, x plus 6 equals 0, minus 6 from each side, x would equal what? Negative 6. So what that means is this. All right? So what that means is this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's negative 6, and here's what? Negative 7, right? I'm just kind of going over here, correct? Now, so my question is this right here. Notice this one has a bar on it, right? Correct? So, is negative 7 a solution? Can negative 7 be 0? Well, sure. Negative 2 times negative 7 makes positive 14, right? And 14 minus 14 does equal 0. Can I equal 0 in this problem? So that means I can what? Color it what? In? But can negative 6 be part of the solution? No. Now this was kind of hard because I don't really have much what? Tell you what I'm going to do. Just for like purposes of like, to see this here a little better, I'm going to kind of just skip a space, you know what I'm saying, for our numbers, all right? Kind of just make it a little easier to kind of see, because the numbers are too close together there, okay? So here's what I need to do. I need to pick a number what? Left of here, the middle of here, and what?
The right one.
Right of there. So here's what I'm going to do that'll work this, okay? I'm going to kind of cheat, because what do y'all have very easily ahead of you? I mean, I could pick a number like negative 8, negative probably 6.5 would be an easy one as a decimal, right? And I would pick 0. I always pick 0 because 0 is what? Easy what? Easy math. So here's what I can do. I can go up here and plug these numbers in, you know what I'm saying, up here in this problem here. Or even this one to see if they're what? Less than 3. And this one to see if they're less than what?
6.
I like this one here though because here's why. Because what kind of answers am I looking for? Less than or equal to 0. I mean, are they positive or are they what? So what I'm going to do is this here. I'm going to kind of cheat. Instead of plugging all the numbers in, what do I have with me that everybody else is nice and handy dandy what?
Calculator.
Calculator, right? So let's use it. So let's go over here. My y equals, oh, gotta turn it on first. Y equals, and I'm going to do this second alpha y equals. And I'm going to use option 1. And I'm going to put negative 2x what? Minus 14. And I'm going to put what? X what? Plus 6. And y'all, I can graph it, y'all. Ooh, looks like there's an asymptote out here about negative 6, doesn't it? Which makes sense, correct? So let's do this here. So let's do what? Second what? Table. And notice, what do we see at 0? At 0 I got what? Negative what? 7 what? Thirds. Which if I put a 0 in here, it goes away. I have negative 14 over 0 plus 6. And negative 14 over 6 would be a what? Negative what? 7 what? Thirds. So I know that all the numbers where? This side are what? Good numbers, right? Because they're negative, correct? So let's kind of arrow down to, and notice, what do you see at negative 7? Makes us see the number what? 0. Was 0 part of the solution? Yes. And what do you see about negative 8? It's a what? Negative 1. And if I put negative 8 in here, if I put a negative 8 in here, that's a positive 16 minus 14 makes 2. And negative 8 plus 6 makes negative 2. And 2 divided by negative 2 would be what? Negative 1. What did I get right there, right? But what's not nice about the calculator? What number's not in here? Well, I know what? These are also what? Good numbers, right? Those numbers were also what? Good, correct? Right? But I haven't checked numbers between what? Negative 7 and what? Negative what? 6. I may have to do this one, you know what I'm saying, myself. So what's the number between negative 6 and negative 7? You see what? Negative what? Well, 6 point what? 5. So if I come up here, I put negative 6.5 in here. Well, negative 2 times negative 6.5 makes positive 13. And 13 minus 14 makes a what? Negative what? 1. And negative 6.5 plus 6 makes a negative what? 0.5. Now, y'all, I don't really need to do this. I do know that would be a positive 2 if I do the work. Okay? I'll just kind of put that in there and do the math for it. But notice a negative divided by negative makes what? Positive. And I'm not looking for positive answers. I'm looking for what? So what that means is this, everybody. That means that I'm looking for numbers, what? Less than negative 7, right? X is less than negative 7 or equal to. And I'm also looking for numbers, what? Greater than what? But not equal to negative 6, right? So how would I graph these how would I write this with my brackets and parentheses? Well, this side's always negative infinity. This side's always what? Infinity, right? Correct? Positive side. So I'm going to have this negative infinity all the way to negative 7, and the negative 7 would be a what? Bracket, because it's part of the solution. And then y'all see, I kind of have written on your paper, I have a big U. That's the union symbol, or another way to say it is or, meaning it's either true, it's true here, or it's true where? Over here. Now, is -6 a part of the solution? No. So it's a parentheses, and infinities are never brackets. So that would be the answer to number 3. That's your answer to number 3. Just like that. That would be your answer right there.